everyone. This is Nancy. I hope you're doing well at quarantine this week. So, we're going to move on with our sermon series called Own the Moment. And this week is week 2 on Own the Moment, and we are going to be talking about owning the influence. So, our text is going to be Esther chapter 4, verse 16, and we'll go throughout Esther chapter 4, I believe. Yes. So Esther chapter 4, verse 16. This is the NLT version if you want to follow along with me. I will go in to see the king. If I must die, I must die. Have you ever done something that caused you to bend the rules? How about something that completely broke the rules? How committed were you in that situation? So I'm going to read a story about Andrew. He tells a story of how he was younger and how he broke the rules. So let me read you this story. I remember breaking the rules at the age of 12. I was a good kid in a good neighborhood, but I totally had a hard rebel side. This may be hard to believe, and please keep this is a judgment-free zone, but my friends and I used to be in some pretty bad stuff. Almost every Saturday around midnight, we would sneak out of our houses, meet up, and walk down this dark alley. That alley was very important to us because that alley was the fastest way to get to the gas station, where we would go buy late-night candy and snacks without parents' permission, just like true rebels. Eventually, my mother caught on to what was happening when she heard me coming in one night. She very sternly told me that we will talk immediately in the morning. After that, I called my friend and asked him to call the others. I confessed to my friends that I had been caught, but exclaimed that I would boldly stand before my mother and say that I went out alone so that I could save all of them from trouble. Just like Esther, I declared, I will go to my room, and if I die, I must die. Unfortunately, when the moment came, I was not like Esther at all. I was a total pansy and caved in immediately when she threatened to ground me from my TV. I told her all of the names of my friends, and we would all get in trouble. No matter how bold I felt talking to my friends about how I could stand up for them, when it came down to the moment, I had no actual influence over my mom, nor was facing her worth the punishment I would get. So just like Andrew, Esther understood what it meant to truly own the moment. But she was fighting for a match more noble, that was a more noble cause than midnight snacks. She was approaching her king because there was a chance that all her people would be violently killed. Even though a woman approached her king could result in death, she knew it was worth it. Esther owned her moment and saved her people by owning her influence. So a little bit of a backstory. Esther became queen after 12 months of preparing. She was chosen by the king to be queen of all of the over the kingdom. And so there was a plot that she knew was coming up that she would have to deal with and this plot was to kill all of the Jews. And so she was tasked by being king or being queen, and now she is tasked to use her status as queen to be able to help and save all the Jewish people. And so you can see that's why she was struggling with this, because there is a law that if you do come up to the king without an appointment, or if he called you, or if he didn't call you and you showed up before the king, then you would be executed. So at this point, she was prepared to take whatever kind of risk that she needs to take and be able to take whatever punishment she is going to have, because she was determined to save her people. And so we are going to talk about owning the influence. So when we begin to own our story and the influence that God gives us, it is amazing what opportunities can come along to give us a platform to point to him. So I want to talk about a few places and also people that have been able to own the moment and also own the influence. So if you don't remember, we did a Bible study called Shaken by Tim Tebow, and he had talked about how he used his status as an NFL player to witness to other people without even doing really much. So he put he had written John 3:16 on his face, and when his face was on camera, people would see it, and then this verse would be searched on through Google for a very long time, and also a lot of people had also searched it, so he was able to preach the gospel that way. In-N-Out Burger, who doesn't like In-N-Out Burger and likes to eat a cheeseburger? The founder of In-N-Out was Christian, and so he was able to influence millions and millions of customers because he was able to write verses on the packages that you would get your burgers in or on your fries. So next time you go to In-N-Out, take a look at that, and they put verses like Proverbs 3:5, Revelations 3:20, or 1 Corinthians 13:13. And if you go to In-N-Out and you look at the fries, the container, you'll probably see it, so take a look at that. Forever 21, Jin Chang had founded it, and he's a fashion designer. And he wanted to build a business that enabled young creative minds to stand out on fashion and faith. Millions of shoppers walk out of the store every day carrying their iconic yellow bags with John 3:16 printed on them. So, owning your influence. God is calling you to own the moment and own your influence. You guys, even though you guys may not have a huge platform, you guys still have the moment, and you still have the influence. If you are well known in a popular crowd, please use that moment and use your influence to be able to minister to others and to reach out to those that don't know what to do in their life next. So I'm going to give you a few points or some key factors on how to shape your life and own your own influence. So point number 1, listen to the voices. So a lot of us have mentors and everything. Just as Esther had a mentor, her mentor was Mordecai. Mordecai was able to give her critical information and things that she needed in order to go before the king. In Esther 2:20, in the NLT version, Esther continued to keep her faith background and nationality a secret. She was still following Mordecai's directions just as she did when she lived in his home. So Esther was able to call upon remember everything that Mordecai had given her. All the knowledge and things that she had given, or she was given by Mordecai in the Christian home, she was able to utilize it in her own home, and she was able to pray daily and to do devotionals so that she could still keep her faith. So my question is to you, what are the voices in your life that you should be listening to? Are you listening to your pastor? Are you listening to Pastor Josue? Are you listening to your youth leaders? Are you listening to me? Are you listening to the Christian mentors that are in your life, your parents, your older siblings? Like, they were able to go through life and go through that Christian walk. And if you have questions, they're able to answer that to the best of their ability, and they can call upon their own experiences and everything to teach you how to live the Christian walk or to live that Christian life and walk that Christian walk. Understand the seasons. Esther began to realize that becoming a queen was the moment she was born for. She knew that she was going to be queen, and she knew that she was born for this specific reason. She had to be queen in order for the Jews to be saved, because if she wasn't a queen, then she wouldn't have any power, and she wouldn't have the influence to try and help King Xerxes understand why the Jewish people cannot die. In Esther chapter 4, verse 13 through 14, still in the New Living Translation, Mordecai sent this reply to Esther: "Don't think for a moment that because you're in the palace you will escape when all other Jews are killed. If you keep quiet at a time like this, deliverance and relief for the Jews will arise from some other place. But you and your relatives will die. Who knows if perhaps you were made queen for just a time as this." Mordecai basically told her, this is your calling. You were made to be queen. You were born to be queen, and you're made to save this entire nation. You can get away with it because you're a queen. But how are you going to feel whenever you see your entire nation die before your eyes? This is probably the reason why you became queen. So God used Esther in a much bigger platform to save an entire nation. So what can God do with your platform? It might not be as big, but what can God use in your season or what is God doing for you in your season to help you minister to others? Utilize your resources. Esther utilized the resources that she had to maximize her influence. Knowing the moment that God had prepared her for, she made use of prayer and fasting of her people. In Esther chapter 4, verse 15 through 17, says, Then Esther sent this reply to Mordecai: "Go and gather together all the Jews of Susa and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. My maids and I will do the same. And then though it is against the law, I will go in to see the king. If I must die, I must die." So Mordecai went away and did everything as Esther had ordered him. So, to own the moment that God had revealed to her, Queen Esther employed the people under her command to help her host a banquet that would allow her to uncover Haman's wicked plans and save a nation. So you have Esther telling Mordecai and her relatives to just fast and pray. Just like we were doing as a church, we are fasting and praying for this COVID-19 for everybody to be healed of it, and for this whole virus to end. Just as we as people cannot physically do anything. All we can do is just fast and pray. It's just fasting and praying works. And just as people are able to fast and pray, we're able to know what we need to do next. So I'm going to read Esther chapter 5, verse 6 through 8. "And while they were drinking wine, the king said to Esther, 'Now tell me what you really want. What is your request? I will give it to you.' 'Even if it is half the kingdom,' Esther replied. 'This is my request and deepest wish. If I have found favor with the king, and if it pleases the king to grant my request and do what I ask, please come with Haman tomorrow to the banquet I will prepare for you. Then I will explain what this is all about.'" So you have Queen Esther asking the king, and they were asking the king for a banquet so that she can explain and reveal all of Haman's plans to create an order that would kill all the Jews. And so she's creating this banquet to set Haman up to have the king understand, like, this is what his plan is, and if you're going to kill them, then it's not a good thing. And so another key point would be walk with wisdom. After following the voice of wise leaders, knowing that her season was at hand, and having exhausted all resources, Esther understood that her moment had come to speak up for her people. Discernment and strategy come with being truly spiritually led. So you have Esther chapter 7, verse 2 through 6. On this second occasion, when they were drinking wine, the king said to Esther, "Tell me what you want, Queen Esther. What is your request? I will give it to you, even if it's half the kingdom." Queen Esther replied, "If I had found favor with the king, and if it pleases the king to grant my request, I ask that my life and the lives of my people will be spared. For my people and I have been sold to those who would kill, slaughter, and annihilate us. If we had merely been sold as slaves, I could remain quiet, for that would be too trivial a matter to warrant disturbing the king. Who would do such a thing?" King Xerxes demanded. "Who would be so presumptuous as to touch you?" Esther replied, "This wicked king Haman is our adversary and our enemy." Haman grew pale with fright before the king and queen. So basically, Esther called Haman out, saying, this is what Haman's trying to do. And if you kill all the Jews, you might as well kill me, because I am a Jew as well. So she basically laid it out in a plan where King Xerxes loved Queen Esther, and he would do anything for her. And so she basically said, if you want to see me die, then put this order out. But if you don't want to see me die, then this is what Haman is trying to do. So she used her platform, she used her influence, and she was able to use her power to help King Xerxes understand this is not a time for us to kill the Jews. If you're going to kill them, then kill me, because I am part of them. These are my relatives. These are my family. This is my culture, my religion. Please respect that and be able to save these people. So God had prepared her for this platform. He set up a platform and built up her influence so that she can use it to save an entire nation. Just like us, God can create a platform, and he can create a preparation for us. I know for me, as I go through college, I am preparing to become a social worker, and I know that God has a plan for me to become a social worker so that I can use that to minister to others or to help people that really need the help. And so as he lets you grow into this platform, he also grows your influence. And so he uses that to reach more people. As we go through COVID-19, it's not easy to communicate with people, but we need to understand that we're in the end times now, and we need to use our influence to win people to the Lord, so that when God is ready, or when Jesus is ready to take us up, we are prepared and we are ready for it. So my encouragement for you guys is, I hope that you use your platform and use your influence to minister to others, to be able to pray and to fast and know and build your platform and influence to minister to others. If God has called you to be a doctor or a nurse or an engineer or a pastor, utilize everything that God is giving you, school, mentors, everything, and be able to build yourself up in knowledge and influence and platform, and so that you can use it later to win people to the Lord. And so I hope that you all have an influence on others, and a positive influence at that. So that's the end of our lesson. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I hope you had a great weekend, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye.